Good morning and welcome back to my channel, Don't Mind Me. My name's Diana and today I'd like to read a story called Choking on Citrus by Sue Hunter. And this story I found interesting because it's about artificial intelligence and it taking over the world. I would love to know your opinions on this, so please feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you like my videos, please like and subscribe because it is free and it does help my channel and the algorithms. If not, it's fine, but um, also share, but it will help. Okay, Choking on Citrus by Sue Hunter. I'll just get the page sorted. Okay. It was bad enough that AI had overthrown humanity. It was even worse that Harry had to work in retail for them. He was on his knees scrubbing the linoleum floor with a sponge that had long since lost its bright yellow colour. He tried to ignore his boss's eyes on him as he dunked the sponge into a bucket of soapy water. If he let up his cleaning regime for even a moment, Robo-Boss would be on him in an instant. Harry had no idea why people thought robots could not express emotions, because his boss was the moodiest AI on this side of the country. The shop door opened with a chime and a customer, human by the looks of it, trudged inside, dragging his sand-crusted boots across the still wet floor. Harry's eyes twitched as bits of sand scattered about, ruining his hard work. Welcome! Harris's boss had downloaded a fancy British accent a few days ago, and Harry was still reeling from the change. The AI's voice was crunchy, as if the voice file had been compressed. Maybe the robot could get that fixed, but Harry bet it cost some vast amounts of money that even an AI couldn't get their hands on. Harry went back to scrubbing the floor, trying to ignore the grittiness of the sand between his fingers. Seems even our brilliant robot overlords can fall victim to money problems. Who would have guessed? The customer rattled off his order to Robo-Boss as Harry threw his sponge into the bucket. The man spoke in a language that Harry didn't know, but his boss had no trouble crossing the language barrier. As Robo-Boss began to make a smelly drink for the sandy man, Harry dragged his bucket behind the counter. Robo-Boss refused to let Harry touch the drink-making machine ever since Harry had set the thing on fire. And, no, he had no idea how that had happened. The only reason he was allowed back there was because of the tiny cabinet filled with chemicals for cleaning the shop. Harry dumped the dirty, sudsy water into a nearby sink, trying not to gag on the brown colour. It was almost the same shade as the drink that Robo-Boss had handed to the customer. The sandy man and his boss were laughing, though. Harry could hear the strain in Robo-Boss's robotic voice. Harry couldn't consider his boss a people person. Robo-Boss basically looked like a human, with silver skin and void black eyes. Harry had long since catalogued the dents and scratches that were scattered about their metallic arms. The most unnerving thing about the boss was their refusal to wear any clothes. Which, well, it wasn't like they had anything to cover. Robo-Boss noticed that Harry was staring, and their black eyes narrowed as they shooed the boy away with a wave of their hand. Get back to work, they hissed, switching back to Harry's native language. The tables need to be wiped down before the lunchtime rush. Hop to it. Harry rolled his eyes, but did as he was ordered. Grabbing a grey rag and a bottle of suspiciously neon green spray, he walked back out to the floor and began to furiously scrub at the plastic tables. The spray smelled like oranges, like too many oranges, like Harry was choking on the smell of citrus, and it made him want to throw up. Harry swore that using the cleaning supplies every day had killed off the ability to smell anything else. Even the fancy drinks that Robo-Boss made every day only had a fruity odour. Harry pulled his shirt up to his nose, trying to breathe through it as he continued to scrub. Barely, just barely, he could pick up the smell of home. The smell of freshly baked bread that his mother pulled out of their small oven in the morning. The smell of picking flowers to bring to his Abela as she lay in their only bed. The smell of cigarette smoke, the one luxury Harry's father still allowed himself these days. Harry! The robotic's voice snapped him back to the present. Harry let his shirt fall back as he turned to view his very ticked-off boss. The robot waved a hand at the table that the boy had been wiping. You've been cleaning that table for the past 15 minutes. That man had enough time to finish his drink and clear out already, and you haven't moved from that spot. How about you stop daydreaming about who knows what and get back to work? I don't pay you to stand around and do nothing. You don't pay me enough to care either. But Harry's response was so quiet he doubted even the robot could hear him. He did as he asked, moving to the next table and spraying that disgusting fruity-smelling juice on it. Turning his back to his boss, he scrubbed the table with force. He tried not to think about the small paycheck he would receive in a few days. It won't be enough. It won't be nearly enough. The shop was silent, save for the hiss of machinery behind the counter. Harry thought he heard Robo-Boss sigh, but that was ridiculous. Robots didn't need to sigh or clear their throats, which is what the boss did next. Hey, how is that grandma of yours? Same as before, Harry answered, voice monotone. No better, no worse. Still got that bug, huh? Heard it has been going around. The man who just came in was saying he knew a few people that got it too. Harry didn't respond. Instead, moving to the small table near the shop's window, he tried not to think about his Abela. He spritzed the window and wiped it down, not caring about the streaks he left behind. The citrusy smell clung to him, clung to his clothes, his hair, his breath, and he hated going home with it still on him. Because Abela noticed. She noticed the unnatural odour that Harry carried with him nowadays, would smile and pat his arm and say how proud she was of him. And he'd hug her, breathing in the scent of dirt and sweat, hoping that if he held on to her hard enough, he would be able to carry a bit of her with him instead of sickly sweet oranges. Robo-Boss cleared their throat again, a scratchy sound that mimicked the screech of a microphone. I thought you got some medicine for her, Harry swallowed, trying to push down the overwhelming feeling of inferiority. Couldn't. Prices got raised. Ah. His boss paused, and Harry thought they would drop the topic. Instead, they snapped their metal fingers. Stop messing up my windows, Harry, and come here a moment. Raising an eyebrow, Harry dropped his rag on the table and walked over to the bar. Robo-Boss had one arm on the counter, leaning towards him. When Harry got close, Robo-Boss ducked down and brought out a bundle of green leaves. Harry froze, 1 foot in the air as Robo-Boss slammed the leaves on the bar top. No leaves. Cash. And a lot of it. I was going to give this to you at the end of the week, but you can go ahead and take it now. Get your Grammy that medicine, preferably before she croaks. Harry couldn't bother to be offended by Robo-Boss's words. He reached forward, grabbing the stack of money and counting it out with his thumb. $A few $100. $A few $100? Harry's mouth went dry. He held the bundle of money in both hands, scared that it would disappear if he took his eyes off it. This more than usual was all he could manage. Its voice sounded shaky, like he was about to burst into tears. He saw Robo-Boss shrug out of the corner of his eye. Think of it as a bonus. You're a decent busboy. Sure, you could do with a little more scrubbing and a little less laziness, but you leave the shop looking good. Robo-Boss's eyes narrowed, and they poked Harry's chest with a slightly rusted finger. And you'd better stay that way, because you will not be touching my machines any time soon. Harry opened his mouth only to close it seconds later. He couldn't think of anything to say. His brain was stuck in a deep fog, thoughts of his pale grandmother making his heart race. He'd be able to get the medicine now. Maybe it would fix his Ebola right away. Maybe not. But it was something. It was a start. Harry swallowed, wincing at his suddenly dry throat. Thank you, boss. Yeah, you'll forever be in my debt. Robo-Boss waved him away, turning to clean one of the machines that was covered in some kind of black gunk. Put the cash in the back until you get off. I don't want you to lose it. And that was it. Conversation over. Harry was left clutching the money to his chest like a stuffed animal while Robo-Boss tinkered with the drink machine. He looked down at the cash in his hands, blinking away tears that had gathered in the corners of his eyes. He ducked into the back room, placing the money on the small break room table. His index finger traced the outline of the top bill. He let out a long breath, aware of just how shaky he had gotten in the past few minutes. And then he walked back out onto the floor, because there was work to do, because Robo-Boss needed the store to look spotless, because Robo-Boss wanted the shop to smell like oranges, even if they had no way to smell it themselves. Maybe Harry could get used to it after all. Maybe it wasn't so bad to smell the citrus. I hope you like that story. And as I say, do you believe that artificial intelligence could eventually be powerful enough to take our jobs, to make us work for them? I have done some research, and I was thinking of doing a video on AI and its uses and how powerful it could become. I would love to know, as I've said at the beginning of this video, your comments and what you really feel about artificial intelligence. It has its uses, yes, but it is also extremely scary. I also want to remind you all how wonderful you are, how amazing, beautiful, and incredibly inspiring you are. You can do whatever you want, however you want. Just don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. You're your own person. You can be your own boss. Just do what you want to do. Love life to the full as it's only short. And just find something you enjoy, no matter what that is. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. You can. And always be proud of yourselves. Love yourself, love one another, and until next week, bye.